Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the double stream tonight. The Spurs Talk Show and Football Inc. We're trying to catch up, trying to kill two birds with one stone. Johnny's been having similar problems to me. He's a little bit more mobile than I am, as would be standard. Sorry, everyone, there's been no content the last couple of days after what has been an absolutely chaotic weekend in the world of Tottenham Hotspur. Just when things start to go crazy and content should be contenting, Lady Luck on the Health starts to play its little wicked tune on us. I hope everyone is happy and healthy doing the things they love and all that they love to do them with. It's Christmas time, so it's time to get into some festive spirits, some bad mood around all things that are happening around, mainly Tottenham side. We might cover some other things as well, but we've got to talk about the game that happened on Saturday night. I mean, what happened there? And at the same time, Paratici, is it? Listen, we're going to talk about all that stuff. Please do smash the like button before I come and find out how Johnny's doing. Smash the subscribe. Whichever channel you came in on, make sure you do get over to the other channel. If you are here from Spurs Talk Show, please do subscribe to Football Inc. I'll put the link in there in a second. Hit the notification bell buttons, guys. That should be squeezed. Drop a comment thick and fast. Let us know your thoughts on today's topics. And today's show sponsor, well, it's OK Jersey. If you're looking for any clobber, any footballing clobber, any sporting apparel, anything at all, you can search for OK Jersey, find what you're looking for, and at checkout, you can stick in code FINC, F-I-N-C, or you can put in code Sean as well, and you'll get 8% off at checkout. We are, of course, guys, on both Spurs Talk Show and on Football League. We are both on the Spotify and the Apple Pods and all that stuff as well. So please do check out both channels on the podcast platforms and give us a follow and a 5-star rating. Before I come and find out how the chat's doing, Johnny, how are you, my man?
Yeah, well, I went to the game full of festive cheer. I met you up the 8 Bar. And Pete and a couple of other people, to all those that said hello to me on the way in and on the way out and along the road, and the people that said good on you and the other people that said you talk a load of shite. Nice to see you. But there was no festive cheer with Liverpool fan John Brooks on the weekend, was there, Sean? A referee for the ages, that one.
Listen, PGMOL have come out and said that they made a mistake, which is unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, they made the mistake after the event. Great. Really helps us. It was look, that's one of the reasons why Romero lost his shit. I was losing my shit. I
saw your 250 posts on your Instagram story, every clip of the game and your commentary in the background. Absolutely. I saw the way you had to edit afterwards. At the time, I didn't know, and then I knew it was.
I didn't know. Listen, look, Xavi's was a stupid challenge, but I always thought I've done a breakdown of Romero's. If you're on Insta or on X, have a look at that. It's basically Romero's confrontation throughout the game with John Brooks, and basically he started off so soft and sweet. He was putting his little jacket round the little mascot, all nicey, cuddly and fluffy, and then it all went to pot. A couple are saying it's echoey. I don't hear an echo.
It might be me. Hang on, let me
I haven't heard a mistake.
Is it better now?
Yeah, for me it's fine. But look, I thought maybe I'm in the minority, Sean. But when I came away from that stadium, I asked for two things: to show some bollocks, show some passion and fire, and give your all. And as far as I can see, or unless I was completely misread it, I thought the fans were completely behind the team right to the end, right?
Yeah, they were,
yeah. And I thought the atmosphere was one of the best atmospheres probably this season. Getting behind the team, realising, and especially,
even when 2-0 down, they were singing,
Yeah. And that's what we've been after. So I was really surprised, if I'm honest, at the amount of get him out of our club. But since I've pulled away from X, and moved away to other platforms and stuff. I think it's mainly X that are frank out and some of the social.
You pulled away. Are you?
Well, what I mean is, I was using only X as the barometer. Is what I'd say. Yeah. Now I've sort of
I mean, X is a toxic shit pit, isn't it? It's a horrendous place. You never get anyone really being nice on Twitter.
No,
ever.
I've looked around on some of the YouTubes. I looked around on Insta and TikTok and stuff, and I would say it's probably 50-50. But tell me, Sean, do you remember the last time the Spurs fan base were united?
No, but I don't think any. Well, in terms of you mean 100% of people?
Well, not 100%, but like the vast majority. I can't remember a time since probably Poch pre-2019 final where the fan base has been sort of on the vast majority were all sort of singing from the same hymn sheet.
But you still had the factions of people that were against the ownership then.
Yeah, right. But they were against the ownership. But I think at that time it was sort of appeased by the fact that we were challenging, we were second, we were third, we were in semis, we were in a final, what have you. Since 2019, though, I feel like we've fallen off of a cliff. And I don't remember, I supported Spurs a long, long time. I don't remember a period of me supporting this club where it's been this bad for this long, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I would say that, we've had the conversation many times around, like, how do you unite the fan base? And I don't think, for me, I just think fundamentally, you're never going to have a group of people that are in majority agreement on anything when the only common denominator that aligns the people that are within that fan base or within that group is something that is so spurious as a connection as the picking of a team to support in a sport, right? It's, you have to, like, we've got a global fan base, people from every age, every race, color, creed, denomination, wealth background, social status, everything. And so people are just going to be coming at, and people bring their frustrations, bring their private life energy towards their football club. And I think at the moment as well, the world is in not to get all kind of airy fairy, but the world is in a really, really horrible place.
And they want instant pleasure.
Yeah, they want instant pleasure. You got the kind of the immediate gratification that, again, consumerism has taught everybody to expect everything now or yesterday.
Yeah.
And no room for patience. And on top of that, I think everyone's just at each other's throats because the world is like set up in a way to divide people. And so, like, the only way you're ever going to get people to agree is if they happen to have more things in common than just a football team. So I don't think you're ever going to see it personally. But even in the micro, that's just a macro picture. But even in the micro, I also think that, Tottenham Hotspur as a football club has 100% regressed over the last 6 years. But I do think they've regressed from a position of a momentary high that was well above their station.
Yeah, great.
So people bought the top, right? Their expectations were set here. When I said the best analogy for me is where, like, you buy Bitcoin at the top and then you see it crash down in the crypto winter. And everyone resents Bitcoin because they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that they bought in at the wrong price point. I think everyone needs to kind of come to their own determination around what is reasonable. That's why I've always maintained to you guys, to the chat, since I started my channel, that the problems that are in football, just in football, the rationale as to why Tottenham don't win more trophies or we're not as successful as others, it's more than just what happens inside the football club. Right, there's other teams that for you to win, everyone else has to lose. There's rules that are not enforced. There's obscene wealth in some areas and not in others. There's a plhetera of reasons as to why.
Poor management, not just the manager. I'm talking about the management of the club, whether it be directors of football, recruitment, and all. But listen,
there's the mistakes within the football club.
Yeah.
But then those things are controllable to some degree. But there's also the things that are outside the football club that you have no control over. And those things are just as influential,
Well, when I look at, I look at the way football is right now, and I look at someone like, Eddie Howe, for example, where they were 2-1 up against 2-0 up against Chelsea, the fans are in raptures, Eddie's back. And then when they pull it back to 2-2, it was like, you know, the guy's not taking us forward. We're not moving up the league. You know, he's not really the guy. And then you have Ruben Amorim, who, had he been a Spurs manager, would have definitely been sacked by now with his record. Yet he's starting to turn it round. And then there were clamours for Iraola and Glasner. Now you've got Iraola, who can't, you know, struggling to win a game, right?
Yeah.
Struggling to get.
But no one notices. No one notices the regression to the mean in smaller clubs.
Correct.
Everyone notices the outperformance, but no one pays attention to the regression.
Correct. And right now, Crystal Palace are having a little bit of a moment, right? And this is what I'm saying. You know, it's that instant gratification. I don't see that many clubs. In fact, I can only see 2 to 3 clubs maximum that have got any consistency in the Premier League, and that's Aston Villa, Manchester City, and even they've not consistent, and Arsenal, and they've not been consistent in the last wee while. And that's what's keeping Spurs higher, let's be honest, than we could be. We could be in a much worse position than we are right now, had it not been for the inconsistency of a lot of the teams.
Yeah, it's a weird season, mate. It's a very weird season. Yeah. I think that it's like we're getting slightly cut adrift now of that pack in the from like 5th to the 10th or whatever. That there's like 3 or 4 points that separate them. We're getting, you know, we need to go on a massive run. Do I see it coming? No, I don't. I mean, we can talk about the kind of bigger picture problems at Tottenham until the cows come home. I still maintain, yes, there's a hell of a lot of things that are wrong at the football club, and things that can be done and improved upon will have some impact. But I still think that people are reluctant to ever consider that there are other things outside of the football club that are quite, you know, esoteric, quite opaque in understanding how they work, but really they are massively influential on whether or not you can achieve what you want. Like let's talk about the Semenyo, right? So Tottenham have walked away from trying to attract Semenyo. I mean, someone told me earlier, I'm not sure if he said, you know, not to say anything, but I don't know where he's coming at it from. But he said that, I know, yeah. But he said that he heard that the rationale was he couldn't work with Thomas Frank, and that Thomas Frank was the kind of cop block on that deal. And I'm thinking, I don't believe that. I to a degree, I can get on board certain players maybe thinking, I'm looking at the style of play and thinking, do I really want to go there as a forward to be expected to kind of move the needle when the play hasn't really been thus far under Thomas Frank? It hasn't really looked like we have an on-the-ball style of football. Obviously, we'll come to Liverpool in the game specifically because I think we were much better against Liverpool, although I thought Liverpool were absolutely fucking terrible, absolutely atrocious, the worst Liverpool team I've seen for so many years. And that was a real opportunity. And we shot ourselves in the foot with some bozo moments from our own players. I don't put that on Thomas Frank. I put that on the responsibility of the players to be on the pitch. So I don't really hold Thomas Frank accountable for what happened yesterday, but I can get on board the notion that certain players might not be attracted to playing the version of Frank ball that we have seen thus far. And we keep getting told by him and by proponents of his model, you know, fixing the kind of roof was the first priority, and now we're going to move into the, you know, the phase 2 and the phase 3 or whatever. Still don't really see enough of it. All I see is moments where players are now being a little bit selfish, if I'm honest. They're sitting there getting hold of the ball and deciding the only way I'm going to be able to forge something here is if I do it by myself. Kolo Muani, Kudus,
Kudus was terrible on Saturday.
Kudus was horrendous, mate. Yeah. He slowed everything down in the first half.
Yeah.
I've got no idea why.
Guys, just to say in the chat, yes, I was a fan of Thomas Frank, right? That's what you do when you're on these shows, right? You put yourself out there. You say you like the manager, and I did, right? I'm not hiding from that fact. But coming at me and, like, you know, telling me it's all my fault because I wanted Thomas Frank is nonsensical, right? I don't walk around.
The reason why Thomas Frank is here is because Jonny gave him the seal of approval.
Yeah, I mean,
what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Right? I don't walk around with my head in the sand, right? And I don't have any problem saying that he has not delivered, right? And if he doesn't deliver, he's gone. But the problem is, guys, you can call for him to be gone tomorrow, and for what, right? Who is available? Who is available that's going to come in right now and turn the ship around? This ship has been it's been stuck in mud for a long, long time, right? If you think last season was great, you take away the Europa League win, 22 league defeats. Come on, guys, 65 goals scored against us. That's crap, right? And then we had the other problems before. This has been going on a long, long time. I think is it 29 wins in 88 or 89 games. It's shocking. This has been going on a long, long time. If we're going to get rid of Frank, for me, it's just my opinion. I think you've got to roll the dice to the summer. When if it hasn't worked out for him, there will be plenty of managers there. But one last thing before I go back to Sean, it would not matter. Spurs do not dine on the first sitting when it comes to a player. You might think we've got illusions of grandeur that Semenyo, we want Semenyo so he could possibly come. No, we are behind Arsenal. We are behind Man City. We are behind Liverpool. We are behind Man United. And we're probably behind Aston Villa now, right? Yeah. So, you can play, it's only because of Thomas Frank they're not coming.
So, Johnny, it used to be just pay the money. In fact, it still is.
Correct.
But it doesn't work that way. I've always maintained this. Like, it doesn't matter. Yes, people have said in the past, we didn't get this player, that player because we weren't paying 250 grand a week. It's like if you're paying 250 grand a week for a player, that player is a player that is wanted by all of the top teams.
Correct.
The draw is the most important factor. If you're the only team that wants the player, why? Right?
How many teams?
Ndombele, perfect example. We paid that geezer 200 grand a week and nobody else was competing for his signature. And we found out once we'd signed on the dotted line that the guy was an absolute, a donut. So to me, I think that people like this again. There's other things. It's not.
Do you remember?
If Tottenham have ambition, it can happen. If you can't go and get the best players in the world, Johnny, and then you go, okay, let's go to the second tier, or let's go and be better at the identification of young talent. For that to happen, you need to have the skill sets of the Brentford and the Bournemouths and the Brightons in their scouting model, which we don't have. And even then, if Igor Thiago came to Tottenham, Johnny, or if Semenyo had come to Tottenham, would Tottenham fans have been happy with the player when he wasn't doing it immediately and then hounded out?
Well, look at Xavi. Look at Xavi. Look at the abuse Xavi's getting. Listen, people have got such short memories. Newcastle, the richest club in world football, right? The richest club in world football, but they're limited, obviously, by the PSR and all the other rules. How many players? We did a show on Football Inc., Sean, listing all the players that Newcastle tried to sign. Failed. Yep. They still ended up with Walter Marde, Elanga and Visser, but they were nowhere near their first targets, right? They were nowhere near their first targets.
By the way, if Tottenham signed Anthony Elanga, the fan base would have been...
Oh, my God, he's been shocking. He's been shocking.
I remember when the fan base, when we had the option to sign Anthony Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
And that summer we ended up signing Richarlison instead. And everyone was like, don't want Anthony Gordon. He's rubbish. He's trash. And I was like, you guys couldn't be more wrong. And then when Richarlison signed, they were like, he's a baller. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? Richarlison's Johnny, I know your connection. But like, to me,
mate, I'm a massive Gordon fan.
Anthony Gordon was an absolute winner.
Always
and then forward at 18 months, 2 years. And everyone was like, what? We should have got Anthony Gordon. I remember what you said. Don't play Monday morning quarterback. Don't do it. And pretend like no one... Because like
you just know sometimes in the game that you and I are talking about, because you and I both had the same eyes on the game, Spurs absolutely whooped Everton's arse at Tottenham 4-0. And he was outstanding. He never stopped running, never stopped chasing. He was like a one-man machine. And he just stood out above all else and all others, should I say. And, I think a lot of people obviously are going to go on at Richarlison. Sorry, not Richarlison, Cuti Romero. But really,
let's talk about that for a second, mate, because he's Jekyll and Hyde, isn't he? He's the captain of the football club. And he gets a yellow card for dissent, and then a yellow card for.
Rightly so. But
it should have been. Of course, it should have been. But here's what I watched him pushing other people away because he's like, I'm the captain. Let me speak to the referee. But the other players were coming in telling him to calm down. He's like, no, go away. I'm the captain. Fuck you, ref. Like, and then he gets the yellow card, and obviously that referee couldn't wait to give him a sending off. Couldn't wait.
I mean, they were clashing. Like when the show's finished, guys, have a look at my clip. He was clashing with him literally the whole time.
Yeah.
But, rightly so. Some of the decisions, I mean, since when? Tell me when, Sean, shoulder to shoulder was a free kick.
The Jed Spence one.
I mean, there was more than one or two.
Yeah,
and yet, there was 3 or 4 incidences there. Yeah, I saw the Chelsea Newcastle game. 5 minutes before the end, Trevor Chalobah steps across Anthony Gordon, steps across him, uses his shoulder and puts his leg in. No penalty, right? It was a blatant penalty. And I thought the Spence one was a penalty. And there was another incident as well where he threw the ball down. He'd had enough. Look, the referee was shambolic. I'm not going to blame the referee entirely for why we lost. But he was
definitely an influential factor, though.
Yeah,
but we also shot ourselves in the foot. Like, do you? Because this, I haven't been on site. I haven't done any YouTube since Saturday, since the game. I came out and basically just been out of service for the last sort of 48 hours. So this is the first time I've dialed in to see anyone's commentary. Are you saying that the Liverpool result people are putting on Thomas Frank?
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah.
Based on what? What did he do wrong? Because I thought Tottenham played their best.
Shit subs. Yeah. What did they ask for? Sean, what did the fan base ask for? They asked for fight, determination. We had a better XG than Liverpool and lost 2-1 with 9 men.
We were the better team with 10 men, and we were the better team with 9 men, even though 9 men was 10 minutes or whatever. But like, I don't know what Thomas Frank can do about a Xabi. Look, it was a red card according to the laws, but unfortunately, the law is not implemented consistently because we saw it the last time we played Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk did it to, I forget who it was, right? And got away with it, right? I mean, you see it week in, week out. Some of them are given, some of them aren't. The fact that it was considered reckless and dangerous, I think, is outrageous. But it was it's a red card. Like, you can't argue with it. Like, it's fair enough.
I thought he slipped. Well, from where I was right in front of it. I thought he slipped, and I was going mad that he'd given him the yellow card.
Well, it's a nonsense position to do it in, right? Like, because he was going back to his own corner.
Yeah,
like, there was no threat. So I sit there and say, Xabi Simons, like, what you doing there, mate? But I think the whole team was kind of amped up. I thought they really wanted to sort of to show that aggression and fight, and I think it just boiled over. The referee then created this kind of bad energy where the players felt like it was Liverpool plus the ref against us. But even down to 10 men, mate, I thought we were the better team. I thought we had chances. I don't know
what we're asking for. Is that not what we have asked for when we see the abject performances against Arsenal, Chelsea, Bournemouth? Yeah, when we see those.
I'm surprised that the reaction. If that's the truth, I was expecting sort of level-headed fans to say, beaten, but it was better. I thought the criticism would have been, look, Liverpool were the worst version of themselves ever, so let's not kind of get ahead of ourselves. But I thought the frustration would have been aimed at Romero and Xabi, because I don't think that Thomas Frank did a. I think he set the team up well.
I think more Romero. He should be stripped to the he should be stripped to the captaincy. Should sell him in January. The usual crap, right? Have you seen the stats, guys? When Romero doesn't play for Spurs, you can criticize him all you like, but we are a better team with him than without him, is my opinion. Okay. How many times is he's up there trying to score a goal, or up there leading the players or leading. He did not lead by example, right? He let himself down and he let his teammates down, right? He let the situation with the referee get the better of him, and that's not how you behave as a captain. So,
Right, Michelle, you're saying we were awful until the final 20 minutes.
I don't know what he's talking
about.
The
game I was watching. I mean, maybe I don't know. Sometimes when you're at the stadium, like obviously Johnny's got the best viewpoint in the business. So I'm the kind of quite high up in the south stand. So you don't get to see everything in the minutia, and you don't get to see the replays and all that stuff as as clean and clear. So, but I genuinely felt, and a lot of people around me were kind of were like we were fairly positive.
Why do you think the crowd were behind us?
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know. Like, I think that there's definitely a massive issue right now at the football club with regards. We're not getting results, right? So 11 league defeats at home in the 2025, the worst ever, or the worst for a long time. We are getting cut adrift in the league. I feel like, we're obviously not going to win the Champions League, and the FA Cup we've got a really, really tough draw against against Aston Villa. So I feel like the season is, we're treading water at the moment, and like there's a chance here that it could be over. I don't really feel great to say it, but I feel like it's Christmas time and the season's pretty much done.
Sean, what are you talking about, mate? I can't believe, guys in the chat, I can't believe Sean hasn't worked out what's going on. It's obvious what's going on. We've given up the league, right? And we're concentrating on the Champions League, right? I can't even say that with a straight face. No, but look, I asked for commitment, I asked for fight, I asked to show some bollocks, and I saw that against Liverpool, against all the odds, for a referee that was giving us absolutely nothing. We had a goal against us which should never have stood. We should have had a penalty. There was free kicks and shit going on there. I don't think Liverpool had a yellow card, Sean, until about the 78th or 80th minute. And yet he was handing them out to us like they were confetti.
The only thing I would say, so I don't land this opinion that we were terrible, but I thought Liverpool were absolutely horrendous. I think they were so bad, mate, that I'm sitting there thinking Tottenham have got an absolutely astonishingly bad record against Liverpool. Astonishingly bad.
Yeah.
A game like that on Saturday in the first 25 minutes, I was saying to the guys, the family that sit next to me, that lovely people, I was saying, I feel like this is potentially the best chance we're ever going to get to get on board a bit of momentum, because Thomas Frank needs a win against a big team to be able to get some of that kind of pressure off him. And I thought that Saturday was there for the taking. And then, like I say, for me, I think that Thomas Frank should probably look at the players and think, it's difficult enough to beat a team or to hang on at 10 men, go down to 9 men. We got back in the game, and then Romero just petulantly kicks out. Like, he has to take full account. He's the captain of the football club, mate. He's the captain.
It's a brain fart moment. It's a brain fart moment.
He has a lot of them, though, doesn't he?
Luke Jarvis. Yeah, I love it. He says, Johnny, your love for Frank is unwavering. It isn't, Luke. Just to say to you, it certainly isn't. If you see me on other shows and on my tweets coming out, I can't condone shocking performances. I'm not going to, stand up for some of the performance we've had this season. They're totally unacceptable. All I'm saying is I felt against Liverpool, I saw some fight, some determination, and something that we hadn't seen enough of this season. One swallow don't make a summer. And, all I'm saying is I don't think that now is the time to sack him, because I don't think it achieves anything. If he hasn't done it by the summer, then I'm all for him going, right? Because that's when all the top managers will be available, whether it's Tommy Tuchel or Nagelsmann or Pochettino, whoever, right? But how much time are you, as the fan base, going to give? Are you going to give this manager? Because let's be honest, Mourinho couldn't do it. Poch couldn't do it.
That's largely irrelevant, though, mate. I feel like I hear that sort of commentary all the time, like sack him, but nothing's going to change because the fan base won't. Like, but that just because that might be the case, and that's a reality that the fans are going to fan however they want to fan, and the fans are influenced by other people and the kind of the energy and the zeitgeist. But just because we have a propensity in football, not just at Tottenham, in other teams that have high expectations and lower levels of reality output, that the timelines are not necessarily extended for these people to get it right or to get it wrong in the long term. I don't think that means that he should be given time despite his ridiculously poor start. Like, two things can be true at the same time, right? Like I see the argument about Ange Postecoglou. Like we finished 17th. Even Thomas Frank does it, right? Thomas Frank reminds everybody about the shit show season last year in a defense mechanism. And to me, like you might have, like Ange Postecoglou might have been shit, but we might have also made a mistake in hiring Thomas Frank.
Listen, I ain't going to cry.
That can be true. Yeah. And this narrative of like, you know, you give the manager time, they figure it out. That's not always the case either. Like I don't believe Ruben Amorim is the guy that's going to take Manchester United back. So it's just because Ratcliffe has given him the backing and the stay of execution. Right? It doesn't mean though that that's going to end up being the right play. But I don't think it has. Like they still win one, lose one. They still like give up points all the time. Like they're just slightly more consistent.
Alex Ferguson. Now, this club would have sacked Alex Ferguson. We would have sacked Iriola. Iriola didn't win a game for his first 10 games.
But David Moyes was at Everton for 7 years and didn't win anything.
Yeah. So
like, you know, what like it doesn't mean that Thomas Frank is the next Alex Ferguson.
No, it doesn't. It also doesn't mean. Yeah, I'd never said that. No, I'm not saying that for 1 minute. If he goes, guys. But what I'm saying to you is, right, it's just the same cycle, right? I don't believe that all the players here are good enough, right? I think under Ange, I was saying it under Ange, I didn't think some of those signings from Johan Lang were good enough. I'm not a fan of Johan Lang. I think he's a shocking recruiter. I really do.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, because we've got a whole nother set of chaos that's about to come in. Before we do, guys, let me do some super chats. And by the way, guys, please do, if you are, here's the link, right? Hang on.
Yeah, get on to, if you're on the Spurs Talk Show, guys, come on to Football Link, where although this today is slightly different, we nearly always talk about all football. We have a bit of fun, predictions, fantasy football, what's going on in the football world in general. Come and join us. Give us a follow on Football Link, and vice versa.
If you're 800 people here across the two channels, I don't know the split, but I would imagine most of you on Spurs Talk Show. Please do get over and smash the sub on Football Link. We do. It's a lot of fun on Football Link. We got games. We do jingles every day, and we talk about all football, including Tottenham, of course. And there's a lot of transfer news coming up. Transfer fun is coming around the corner, so please do that. Let's get into the super chats, mate. Then we've got to talk about the whole Paratici situation. Big up to Deanie Chew. Deanie, always here, always supporting, and as the first man out of the trap with the super chat, the super sticker, you get the choo-choo train. Choo-choo, you, my man. Choo-choo to you, Chew Deanie. Appreciate you very much indeed. Ulrika was straight in, just behind him. She was trying to get the first one out the trap.
Still in the bath, Sean?
Yeah, still in the bath. Dry your bits. Pour yourself a G&T. We're talking football. Big up to you, Ulrika. Ratatata, Ulrika Kaka. Big up to you. Thank you so much indeed. Choo choo to you. A user, big up to you. He says Levy was like a dam, controlled the flow, built pressure behind the scenes. When cracks appeared, all downstream felt it. Now he's gone. The river is wild.
Great one. Love that.
That's awesome. The Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
Daniel Hoover Levy.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, certainly he was the focal point of all of the anguish and the ire, right? And now his absence means that everyone's getting a slice. Yeah, look, I'm sure a lot of people think he's better that he's gone, but the club seems in just as much turmoil with him gone as it did.
Sean. Daniel Levy is sat at home right now, chuckling to himself.
Yeah.
Thinking, you thought it was good without me?
Yeah.
What are you going to do now?
I don't know what you've got until it's gone.
What are you going to do now?
We shall see. Big up to you, user. Thank you very much. Lee Townsend, big up to you, Lee. Thank you very much indeed. He says, I think over 70% of our squad would return a loss if sold right now. That recruitment is unacceptable. Change is needed. 70% of our squad. Okay, well, that's 70% of our current squad has been more than 100% of our current squad has been built via Paratici and Johan Lang. So we'll talk about that just now. We're also, by the way, guys, at 8 o'clock, we're moving straight from here and from Football Link, and we're moving straight over to the Spurs 5. So you don't have to go anywhere. You will get redirected over for the Chinwag with Stel and Lubo as well. Big up to you, Lee. Thank you very much. Yeah, listen, I mean, yeah, possibly. I'm not sure who of the team have improved their valuation. I mean, there's not a hell of a lot of players that you buy at the top end of the kind of spectrum that you do end up then selling for profits. Like Man United don't really sell players for profit. You know, Man City don't. You know, so like I'm not sure if that's the right way to gauge or to judge success or failure is in sell on valuation, but to get some money back would be.
It's about success, Sean. I didn't know it was all about the profit. The fan
Yeah,
base.
that was the last guy. That was Levy's style, wasn't it? You know?
Jesus Christ, what's going on?
Big up to you, Lee. Thank you very much. Listen, it's a fair point, though. It's a fair point, buddy. Like, I definitely think that the recruitment has proven to be, obviously, many mistakes. Big up to you.
Been out for the last 2 years, but yeah.
What's that? Sorry.
I said Fabio's been out for more of the last 2 years. It's been Johan Lang calling the shots.
Yeah, but we'll talk about it. We'll come to that. Ulrika's come back in with another super sticker. Big up to you, Ulrika. Thank you so much, miss. Choo to you, mate. Choo to you. I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday morning. It must be your part of the world. Big up to James 119. Big up to you, mate. Super sticker as well. Choo to you, James. Thank you very much indeed. And Big Country Chris has said, missed you guys this weekend. Can't smile without you. I appreciate you, Chris. Yeah, look, I don't think I'm going to be going to Tottenham anymore. I don't think I think I'm going to be giving my ticket away every week on this channel to the home games or something. I think because I just it's always a nightmare the days after, and I feel like I miss out on too much ability to content. Rusty Spurs is putting a super sticker. Big up to you, Rusty. Thank you very much indeed. Choo to you as well. The super sticker train has gone everywhere today. If you want to join the super sticker train, let us know where we're picking you up from, and we shall be there. Big up to you guys. As I say, please do get over to Football Link if you come from the Spurs Talk Show and smash the sub. Right, Johnny, this is the new one, right? So obviously on Saturday it dropped that Paratici, who only signed in, was it August? No, September, wasn't it? Early September, just after and he's within 3 months, he's basically said, well, no, he hasn't said anything, but the rumours are there that he wants to go to Fiorentina, bottom of the Serie A. They want to give him a 5-year contract to reshape their entire system. And it looks like, according to several reports, although others deny that it's close, but for the most part, they're saying it's real, that he wants out. Johnny, just quickly, I'm pretty sure I said to you, I'm not sure I can't remember your take specifically on it, but I said, as soon as it happened, I went, this looks like a shit show waiting to happen. I said I think Vinay has made a very easy decision, bringing back someone that he wanted, but that he didn't really give anyone the kind of, they were co-directors. I said, and one of them's doing a certain line items and the other one's doing others. I said, it's never going to work. It was always destined to fail. 100%. I can't wait to go and find those clips. I don't usually clip myself from months earlier, but I'm going to, because I absolutely knew this would happen. I just didn't think it would happen so fast. Absolute disaster. What's your take on it?
Comparing them, those two, Johan Lang and Paratici, is an absolute joke. You got one guy that ran Juventus Football Club for 10 years. Not a year, not 6 months, 10 years, right? At the very top, dealing with the top club and all the politics that's involved in there. He moves in the dark circles, right? And then you got Johan Lang, who got sacked by Villa to make way for a proper director of football. And, you know, when I look at the recruitment and what he's done and the players that he's signed, look, there's another problem we've got here. Thomas Frank and Johan Lang are like this.
Yeah. That's the other thing we said. Yeah, like there's going to be politics and clicks, isn't there? There's going to be clicks there.
So I said to you, I don't know how that is going to play out when, in my opinion, right, for what it's worth, I would have sacked Johan Lang straight away. I would have had Paratici leading the charge, and I would have brought back Gabonini, right, and the others, okay? And if this happens, this is massive. If they make Johan Lang, because he's a nice guy, I'm not interested in him being a nice guy. What I know is he ain't good enough, right? He ran the youth. He was demoted to the youth at Aston Villa, right? He's not. If you want to aspire to the best, this isn't it. This isn't it, right?
I agree with you.
If we're going to go, if Paratici, we're to believe that Paratici is going to leave the Premier League to go to a relegated Fiorentina, beautiful city, Florence, to go and live in, but he's going to spend a year in Serie B trying to build the club up. Unless they're offering him all the gold that he can eat, I can't understand what's going on. Therefore, I can only surmise that he's turned around and said, I can't work with this joke, right? I won awards as the best director of football in Europe, right?
Someone at the football said to me that he wanted Gabonini to come back, and he got vetoed by Lang and Lang and
listen, the hearsay game. I don't play.
Yeah, of course, I got no idea.
The hearsay game.
The click was always going to click, though, Johnny. Right? It was always going to click.
But listen, look, you can throw the dice, but I know which one I'm betting on. If I had to bet on A and B, I know which side of the fence I'm going on, right? It's as simple as that, right?
But are either of them that good?
No, I think Paratici. Listen, as I said, you don't spend 10 years at Juventus, right? And shit, right? We wouldn't have Christian Romero. No one thought Cuti Romero would come to Spurs. He just won Italian Defender of the Year. It was a coup. Bringing Kulu, Bentancur, Destiny Udogie, Papa Sarr, right? Yes.
Okay, hang on. Has Destiny Udogie become a great player?
Well, no, but we paid.
Become a great
player. Hang on a second. We paid 15 million. Let's just have some reality here. Pay 15 million for Destiny. We paid 12 million for Papa Sarr, right? So those monies are easily recoupable and profitable, right? From those. Has he made
great players though?
100%. What
are they great players?
Well, I think when they're fit. Destiny and Kulu.
Pape Sarr get into the Brighton team or the Bournemouth team?
Yeah, I think he does.
Does he?
Well, I think he does. Well, you think he's now suddenly crap? I don't know.
Listen, I was happy for him. I said to you guys, in the summer. I said I'm more than happy for him to go. More than happy for Bentancur to go. I rated Bentancur before his injuries. I think his injuries have crippled his confidence in his body. I think he's lost a half yard of pace, but not because he's too old to run that fast, because I don't think he trusts his body necessarily, or just whatever. It's just taken its toll. But I think Pape Sarr has got unique specificity in his capability. It's a
squad game, though, Sean. It's a squad game. We only think of first team. He ain't getting in the first team. It's a squad-based game.
I'm sitting there saying, if you're going to say what are the wins in Paratici's locker, and you're pointing to Pape Sarr, I think that's a pretty low standard.
Well. Right, you say we've made a fuck up. We paid 12 million. You don't want him, sell him. You ain't selling him for 12 million pound, are you? Right? You're getting a lot more. If you want to ask questions, why did we pay 47 million pound for Brennan Johnson? You ain't getting the money back on that.
And who bought him? Who bought him? That was Lang, was it?
Yeah.
But Paratici was still consulting at the time, right?
He wasn't officially consulting. And listen, we know in the summer,
Charlatan for 60 million.
Yeah, no, I said he bought bad players. He did buy bad players. No one's got a perfect, No,
I'm just saying. Just do it.
Look.
There's no energy here. I'm just questioning the narrative that Paratici is better than Lang is fine. Got no problem with that.
Yeah.
The narrative that either of them are that great, I think, is debatable. Okay. And I'd also say, as a director of football, if all you have to do all day long for the most part, I'm sure I'm massively underselling their job role.
It's been off for 2 years, Sean, right?
But all you're doing, so you're doing nothing in 2 years, watch a lot of fucking football, and yet the vast majority of his talent ID comes from Italy. There's a big world out there, and Paratici always goes back to the same pond.
Get rid of him. Right, listen.
No, let's not jump ahead. Is that not a fair criticism?
Well, I think you can criticise everyone if you dip deep enough, right?
You're a director of football. Watch a lot of fucking football, right?
Johan Lang and that muppet that they got rid of. What's his name? Forgotten his name. He was our overseer of football. What was his name? Forgotten his fucking name.
Scott Munn.
Useless. Huh?
Scott Munn.
Scott Munn. Right.
Yeah.
Scott Munn. Absolutely.
I've got no idea what his role was.
No,
absolutely.
He's come in and he's decided he's going to get rid of Gabonini. He's not going to make Gabonini director of football. He's going to push away and bring in his mate, Johan Lang, who got demoted from Aston Villa. Is that what we're aspiring to? We're going to get a guy who's been demoted and we're going to make him our number one top dog?
That's absolutely fine. You're not going to hear him.
Fine,
you're not going to hear me sit there and defend Johan Lang, right? I was never inspired by him.
Get me Campos, right? Get me.
You're not going to get Louis Campos. Although, look, there is a director of football,
Mitchell.
Was Paul Mitchell, right? I mean, the reason why he left, according to all the Levy outers, was because he fell out with Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy's no longer there. You'd bring Paul Mitchell back, possibly, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Listen.
Or how about this? How about this? This is a name that I spoke about. I did a video about this guy on Sean Butler TV. I think it was like one of the first videos I ever did. So maybe 2.5 years ago. Ralph Rangnick.
Listen, I'm all for it.
He's the Austrian national coach. He's just taken them to the World Cup for the first time in like, I don't know, 6 years or whatever, no, like 16 years or something.
Sean, I'm all for it. What I will not accept Johan Lang as the director of football. If Paratici has to go, I accept it. If Thomas Frank has to go, I accept it, right? I only want success for the club. I want us to be successful. But I won't sit here and listen to anyone telling me that we should accept a guy who was demoted by Aston Villa, right? And that's what we're going to go with because Thomas Frank is his mate. I don't give a shit. That's not what I want. If they're going, it's a sad thing that he's going, but we move on. No one's bigger than the club. We bring in a Paul Mitchell. I'm happy. We bring in a Campos. I'm happy. But why is it happening?
Campos.
Why is it? No, I'm just saying. But why is it happening on the edge of the transfer window? And we're going to leave Johan Lang in charge of. I mean,
well, this is the other thing, right? Like, obviously, we don't know if there's any if it's substantiated. But obviously, this is something that's been happening. If Paratici's been taking the. So, like, here's a criticism for you, mate, which surely you can agree with, right? Okay, personally, I think that Paratici wasn't the Don. I know Big Dave, Irish Hotspur, absolutely love him. I know Jack loves him and stuff. I was like, yeah, okay, let's see. A lot of the players we're buying, they're good. Sometimes I'm a big fan of Kulusevski. I really do rate him. Bentancur, I think he's dropped off. The rest of them, some are good, some are bad, whatever. Johan Lang, I completely agree. But when Tottenham Hotspur stood by Paratici for 2.5 years, despite his fraud case, and he's got 18 months suspended sentence, we stood by the guy, which I did a series of the Paratici saga, I don't know, 3 years ago, whatever else. You can see it. There's a whole list of like 8 or 9 different videos about the whole thing, updating the whole story. The more shit that came out during that investigation, I learned so much about the history of Italian football and Juve for that series of content. I couldn't believe that Daniel Levy, who likes to keep a squeaky clean, doesn't want any mud on him because he's trying to represent the kind of the poster boy of FFP and PSR and all this shit. I couldn't believe that he would stand by the guy. So I was like, fair enough. Either the guy's got a dick pic of Levy or something, or he just really rates him, has got a great relationship. And he did let Daniel Levy did trust him to rebuild the youth system, all that stuff.
What was the fraud?
But my criticism of him has always been, outside of the dirty dealings, my criticism has always been he has a distinct lack of track record in finding talent outside of Italy, which I think is a problem. If you're a director of football and you watch a lot of football, and you should watch a lot of football, you should be able to.
Not at Juventus, mate. He's brought players in from all over at Juventus.
At Tottenham, every single transfer rumor, every window, we were just.
And that's because Daniel. That's because Daniel. If I told you some of the players that he suggested to Daniel, I'm not going to go right through them all. And Daniel, who's in control, said no, or someone else said no, and that's the way it goes, unfortunately. But look, I think
just quickly, let me finish the point I was making. I do think the Italian thing was a limitation on him. I don't believe that he necessarily. Sorry, the whole point I was going to get to is we stood by him. We stood by him for 3 years, Johnny, 2.5 years, and then we bring him back despite despite Daniel Levy going. We still brought him back. And made our kind of, I don't know, gentleman's agreement.
Why do you think that was, though?
Because we obviously we stood by him, right? We said we'll bring you back.
Why?
Levy goes.
You stand by him. You stand by him because he had talent. Listen, when people say about fraud, right? Let's get it straight, right? Paratici didn't do fraud and take a whole load of money for himself, right? What he tried to do was to save Juventus Football Club after what was going on in the after COVID, right? People like he's lining his own pocket. He never lined his own pocket. This was about saving.
It's irrelevant.
No, but what I'm saying is,
he might not have been doing it for his own gain, mate, but he cheated. Right. And other teams suffered the consequences of him cooking the books.
Yeah, but hang on a second, right? He wasn't the only one. There was about 10 of them, right?
So what? They all got their
The other three just walked off the club. Nedved and all the others, they just left the club, right? They just left.
They all got bans. They got bans for their own things as well.
Yeah, but they weren't in.
Mate, there was consequences for all of them.
Right.
My point is, Johnny, it doesn't matter whether you're lining your own pockets or otherwise. If, like, I'm not suggesting that Manchester City's employment line their own pockets. But if they're breaking, let me finish. Let me finish my sentence. If Chelsea have broken the rules 85 times, and Roman Abramovich was like filling the pockets of that of his PA buying a property, whether that's doing that for her to get, it's outrageous because Tottenham are going to be worse off as a consequence of teams that already have access to resources and success, and they're cheating on top of it. Same with the 115 charges with Manchester City. I don't care whether it's a personal gain. The reality is that if they're cooking the books or if they're cheating and breaking the rules to give themselves a competitive advantage, it's outrageous. Just because it was our guy that then got caught doing it 3 years ago, it doesn't mean that it's any less outrageous. We stood by him. My point, the whole point was, we stood by him. And the second he gets in, just before our transfer window, he's apparently on the phone to Fiorentina lining up a 5-year deal. Where's the repayment in the loyalty, Paratici? Where's the repayment? We stood by you, and all the while we're just about to go into a January window, and you want to fuck off to Fiorentina? Like, fuck off, mate. Like, that to me is out. Where's the repayment in the loyalty?
Where's the truth of the story, though, mate?
Well, I don't know. But
story? I don't.
If he ends up going to Fiorentina,
but you don't know the whole story, nor do I.
Sure, but we're working on we're just talking about it from what's in the news, right?
Yeah.
If he leaves and goes to Fiorentina, he is leaving us right in the fucking mud.
Yeah.
And that's outrageous from a guy that has been given unbelievable loyalty from us. Unbelievable patience.
Hang on a second, right? It all stands on his doorstep. What if, and I don't know, you might be 100% right. Like I said, if he's going to go, he's gone. I ain't going to fucking cry. But at the same time, it's also entirely possible that his level of signings, go look at Juventus signings, look at the signings he's made for us, that he's suggesting signings that Johan Lang is saying, no, I don't want them, right? And he's got to the stage where he thought, you know what? Fuck this, right? If you don't want what I'm doing, there's no point me being here. I don't know. I'm surmising, like we all are. We're reading into it. It does seem strange that he would leave Spurs. This is why I believe something bigger is going on at the club. Why would you leave the Premier League club, right? A big Premier League club with a big budget to go to Fiorentina, who are going to end up in Serie B next season?
Why wouldn't Vinay step in? If Vinay is reading the room, this master of communication, who, by the way, as I said at the start when this happened, Vinay is choosing a very, very, very easy option there, as saying we want to bring Paratici back, but I can't really play, pecking order priority in terms of who's the boss of who, because if Paratici comes back in and is immediately the boss of Johan Lang will say fuck that, and if it's vice versa, then Paratici will say fuck that. So let's just kind of give them like different line items of responsibility, of which from memory 2 of them clearly overlapped anyway, because one of them was responsible for the youth academy and the other one was responsible for the loans. And so if most of the loans that are taking place are the youth players that are going out on loan, and then those youth players don't get back and get ready for the first team, then you'll be able to do this, won't you? The player was good enough, but the other guy sent him off to the wrong football club, like what's happening with Jamie Donnelly, for example. So it was never going to work. Vinay made a massive mistake not having the balls to pick one as the captain and one as the vice captain, but he didn't. He said, look, let's just let everyone be in charge. Too many cooks spoil the broth. In life, you need to have hierarchy. Hierarchy creates order. You need it, and there wasn't any. It was a poor decision from Vinay. And even if Paratici does feel like he's being cock-blocked by cliques between Thomas Frank and by Johan Lang, then Vinay needs to step in and decide who he wants to have at the football club. If he really thinks that he's going to protect Lang and Frank, despite the fan base overwhelmingly want Frank gone and don't rate Lang as much as they do rate Paratici, then Vinay once again is making a bad decision, allowing Paratici to leave, if that's the case.
Listen, what I do know for sure, 100%, and that's the only thing I can comment about, right? Paratici would not come back to Spurs and if he was answerable to Johan Lang. That's the only thing that I know as a certainty, right? Now, what's happened, and I said that in the summer. I'm not hiding from that because I stand by that, because the people who I was told by, it's as good as facts, right? It hasn't happened, Sean. So whatever's happened, I believe that something has gone on, that Fabio has found out now suddenly he may be second best to Johan Lang, because Johan Lang and our manager, Thomas Frank, are like this. He don't want to upset the cupboard. So something's got to give, and it's going to be Paratici, right? I think it's a huge mistake, but if he does it, he's going to have to fall on his sword, basically. Well, we shall see. We shall see. I think he's leaving or thinking of leaving if he is going to go for that. But I think it's very strange he's going to accept Fiorentina when he was in the running for the AC Milan job.
No smoke without fire, though, right?
Correct.
So there are conversations that are happening between Paratici.
Oh, I think that there's been shit going down at the club, basically.
What, with that Rafi guy,
Everything,
coming in?
They're ripping out everybody.
Yeah, too much too soon, and also like again, we look like got a ridiculously flat hierarchical structure. Was Daniel Levy like really this Superman that was able? Because we weren't exactly like failing. We were not excelling, right? But Daniel Levy had control over everything. Now we've got like 9 different directors of this and that. Like to me, it seems like we've gone from this like a linear structure to a fucking almost like communism.
Well, we had a massive audit, didn't they? They had a massive audit, found out what was wrong. In came Charrington, in came Vinay, right? Then Daniel's gone. Now they're having further investigation, a forensic investigation into the goings on and the deals that were done by Daniel, right? And we're having a cleansing process. And maybe they found that they didn't like the fact that Paratici and Daniel were like this, right? And he's got to go now. We don't know. I'm surmising, but it just feels very strange. Listen, you do not need to be a genius to know a guy who's run Juventus Football Club football strategy worldwide for 10 years comes second place to a guy who was demoted by Aston Villa. They cheered when he left and demoted to the under-21s, right? I ain't buying it. And if he's going, I think they should both go, complete clear out, right? If we're going to redo everything, and let's bring in a world-class director of football. Because if we don't, we are going to tread water. We're going backwards. We're not progressing as a football club right now. This club's in the shit right now, top to bottom, poison. I've never known a period in the last 3 or 4 years, right? Strip out the final, that amazing night in Bilbao, where it's been such shit that we've had to endure. We've had more bad times than we've had good times in the last 4 or 5 years, okay? I don't enjoy it. I've not enjoyed it. Some of the football's been diabolical, but I still love the club. As they say, Tottenham till I die. Whatever will be. I'll still be there. At the home game.
I think this January window is going to be an absolute unmitigated disaster.
It could well be. If Johan Lang is behind behind it all, yes, I believe it. I believe that will be the case.
I'll push back a little bit. Where is this? Because you seem to like.
I'm happy for him to go. Fine.
Like, where is the? Well, what is it that Johan Lang has done that has made you sort of land on this opinion where he's absolutely horrendous? I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. I'm just trying to understand your opinion.
Mate, I can't go into all of it, right? I can't go into all of it, but I just look. His talent ID is shocking, right? I told you about the reverse engineering of data, right? I told you about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereby, right, normally what happens is with data, they identify the positions and
stay there. Keep talking. I can hear you. I'm just over here. I'll talk.
So basically, the reverse engineering of data. So basically, when you use data to find the metrics for a position or a player that you or a position you're looking for, and identify the players. What Johan Lang was doing was finding a player and then saying, "Can you give me the metrics on this player?" That's not the way what you use data for. Anyone can look up a player and say, "Oh, I've got this player." Now look at the metrics. What the whole idea of the metrics is to identify untapped talent, like they do at Brentford, like they do at Brighton, like they do at many clubs, and unearth the gem. I mean, Igor Thiago. We could have bought Igor Thiago from Club Brugge for 35 million if you'd have been doing your data, because he was definitely flagged. And instead of paying 70 million, what they were now, you could have paid 35 million. And there are lots of players like that throughout the whole of Europe, where, you know, if you're doing your scouting and you're doing your data analysis properly, you're identifying these players along with the oven readies that come in. So,
but do you think though that this argument about data, Paratici wasn't a data guy, was he?
He used both, Sean. He used both. Johan Lang. Look, look. If Paratici goes, so be it. I just cannot have Johan Lang sitting at the top of the tree, mate. Right? If he's going, if Paratici's going, bring back Paul Mitchell. Bring back someone who I can see, Mochi or whoever. But he's got to have a track record. We can't do this again. Brentford agreed to pay £35 million for Brennan Johnson, right? They turned it down. We ended up paying 47 million, but they accepted it, and he didn't accept coming. We ended up paying 47 million pounds. Why were we paying 12 million pounds over the odds?
Right. You know what? And that is something that I would imagine would be investigated, right? Because there's nothing about that story that makes any sense at all. Not Daniel Levy's typical repertoire. The whole thing seems a little bit odd for that, doesn't it?
Well, you pay 35, you agree 35 million. The player didn't want to go. We're going to offer you 35 million, right?
Listen, I don't know. For me, Johnny, I feel like, and this isn't about you at all, but I think that you are someone that's echoing quite a lot of the fan base's sentiment. The people that do rate Paratici, I feel like a lot of it is comparables. I think it's like he's better than Lang. And I would make the argument that Johan Lang has walked into again, by the way, I'm not in any way, shape or form defending him, but he walked into a remit that was youth-centric. And I think he found a couple of young players. Whether or not we massively overpaid for Archie Gray, I think that's non-debatable right now. Bergvall looks like a good bit of business, but we'll see how.
That's the best one. I'll give him that.
Well, we don't know though, right? Because Udogie looked fantastic when he first came to Tottenham.
It's a great deal.
Well, in terms of resell on value, 100%. Right? But whether Bergvall becomes a first-team regular in 3 years' time and is a big name in the Premier League, I'm not so sure. Maybe he will be, maybe he won't be. But this is the thing: if your remit as a director of football is to be buying players that will be good in 4 or 5 years' time, the likelihood is that those directors of football won't be here to see that story play out, right? So
without Fabio, our academy would be in the dark ages, right? Anyone who, look, I was going on about this 3 years ago when he first came in, or longer. I can't remember exactly when he came in now. And I was telling people about what he was doing to the academy, ripping it up, rewriting the book. Daniel Levy never wanted to pay the money to these kids. Romain Mundell left the club, went to Club Brugge because we weren't offering the money. Then that changed the metric. I'm not saying that, Sean. Sometimes there's a catalyst. I'm not saying what did he go and do. He's at Sunderland. I'm saying to you that you have to pay the money if you want to build the academy. He got rid of it.
I hear you on that.
He restructured all of it, right?
But has it? And again, this is like the problem. Like we always use the same analysis.
Well, he got us Vuskovic. He's got us players that we've got in the academy. He's the one that said, like, right, I can't go with this. That's another show, mate. That's another show. I'm saying, look,
for me personally, though, I'm just sitting there thinking, anyone that's saying that Paratici's great because look how bad Lang is. It's like saying, would you rather eat like a shit sandwich or drink a glass of piss? I don't think either of them are that good. I don't think either of them have got great resumes to write home about at Tottenham Hotspur. If they had, I think that we've overspent massively, and the biggest mistakes that those guys have made, by the way, and the same for the previous guy, who bought the Ndombele's and all that shit. What was his name?
No, mate, come on. I'm not having that. Right. Steve Hitchin.
Yeah, he was horrendous. I'm saying he was horrendous.
I'm not having that. I put Johan Lang above Steve Hitchin. That's how bad Steve
that's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that when you make mistakes and you make mistakes on the big spends, then even if you make good signings on Lucas Bergvall or Pape Sarrs, like it's irrelevant, right? Because you're just 6 times the amount of money that you're spending from a precious budget on an Ndombele or a Richarlison or a Solanke. And I don't hate Solanke like a lot of people do, but he's not 60 million quid's worth of talent, clearly. Like you can make a nice Bergvall deal, or you can make a nice Destiny Doggy and identify some talent, and maybe they're worth 3 times what you paid for them. But you've dropped a bollock on the big ones. Every time we buy a big player, we fuck up. And that has to go down as a bigger cross in the column of wins and losses than the micro.
Johan Lang, mate, 65 million. Solanke, 47 million on Brennan Johnson, 35 million on Matthias Tell, 25 million on Odebear. They weren't bargained. They might go on. 2 or 3 of them might go on to become, or a couple of them might go on to become good players. You're not telling me that is a good,
Are you saying that Daniel Levy didn't reach out to Paratici for advice on those players?
No, they would have bought. They would have. He was in situ for those. He was in situ for those.
Right. So he was getting. So
no, Johan Lang was the person who was in control of that with Scott Munn for those transfers, right?
So Paratici, when he was a consultant, was irrelevant.
Well, he didn't have final say. No, he didn't. Right? Because I could tell you a couple of the players that he recommended that they didn't even go for and didn't even put a bid in for. Right? So anyway.
Listen, guys, it's been a spicy show. Haven't been doing it for 2 days. Jonny and I straight back at it. It's all love, obviously. We're screaming and shouting at each other, but we're probably both on the similar page. We're passionate.
Yeah, mate. We love it, mate. We love it.
I can only imagine what it's going to be like on the Spurs 5 when Stell gets stuck in and Lubo as well. We're going to be going over there in a few minutes. Let me just quickly do these super chats and ask you guys once again to please get over to Football Inc. There's 850 people here. If you haven't seen Football Inc., then Jonny and I go mad at each other every single day. So please do hit the subscribe over there. I'll put the link
in. If you like football, come over to there. We talk about every game, football. We have a lot of fun as well. It's not all serious. Super Early Birds, big up to you, my man. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Chew to you, buddy. Thank you very much, Super Early Birds. Appreciate you. Futures Bright, Futures Lily White has also put in a super sticker. Chew to you, my man. Thank you very much indeed. I love that icon you've got. Is that a puppy wearing a Tottenham kit? Love it. Very, very cool indeed. And he's come back in Super Early Birds with another one. He says, no Europe next season, which will hinder big signings. Richie stats okay, either assist or goal every 110 minutes up to date. Passion at last on Saturday. Yeah, look, Richie stats are okay. Better than most.
Well, they are. But that Brennan Johnson, you can make the same argument about Brennan Johnson last season, couldn't you?
Well, he's done more than back post. I think he scored some 3 spectacular goals that I can think of.
Most of the goals he scores, though, are in games that we...
Two up for the Puskás Award.
Yeah. He wants a hat trick of nominations for sure. Listen, I love the fact that Richie comes alive in the passion games. In certain things, right? He's a lovely guy. Like nothing but love for the person. The player, I just think he is.
We're loving him on Saturday when he came on and scored that goal, and he was fired up and he was running around. I heard people behind me go, "If he played like that every week, I'd be loving him. I'd have Richarlison on my back." Yeah.
Look, he wasn't rolling around on the floor acting like a schoolgirl. I don't know. Look, it's Look, if he's our number 1 goal scorer, that's a problem. If Johnson was our number 1 goal scorer last year, that's a problem. Guys, listen, we will chew this over again tomorrow. I'll be back on Spurs Talk Show, and Jonny and I will be back on Football Inc. We'll do the predicciones. Big up to you guys. Daniel Pirashesh, what a name. He says, this has something to do with the investigation that took place a couple of weeks ago, and they want him out of the club without making a lot of noise. Okay, that's another angle. Possibly. That's what
I said. His relationship with Daniel and the investigation into Daniel, which has been taken place by an outside party. They could well have unearthed some dealings between
again,
him.
and do what? Like, if that's the
Allegedly.
case, like, I know, of course, allegedly, but if that's the case, then fucking hell, like, this club is in, like, the one thing I think we should have always expected was that Daniel Levy did things by the book, and that his trust in Paratici was based on value attribution rather than, you know, I'll bring you back because you know shit about me and I know shit about you and all that, whatever. Anyway, listen, big up to you, Daniel. Interesting side. Maybe I have to restart the Paratici investigation. Restart that whole playlist, guys. We're gonna leave it there. Stay where you are. Massive thank you to all of you for coming in. We're going straight over to the Spurs 5. I'm sure it will be a cracker as well. But for now, thank you, everyone. Here's the link for. Hang on 1 second. Here is the link for Football Inc.
Guys, thanks for your support. Football Inc. See you tomorrow. Spurs 5. See you in 5. And
see you in 2. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Appreciate everybody. And yeah, I'll see you. We'll see you over there in a minute. Okay, take care. Thanks, everyone. Bye.